All right, kindergartners, only one lesson today. You do need your math book, pencil, and eraser. Also today, you need to bring your cubes. Now you can see here, we're getting farther into this, but we're still working with pretty basic numbers, right? The hard part here is not the adding. What we really want to pay attention to is now what we're doing is modeling. That means we're using some of our tools, like our counters, here with our cubes to make a model of what we're actually drawing together. So take one color of cube, put it there. Take another color of cube and put it there. And what we want to model is, because it's important to make our hands be smart. When our hands do things and our hands get smart about it, it really helps our brains be smart about it too. So put one here, and then take them down and actually put them together. And then you can go ahead and get your pencil and trace. 1 plus 1 is the same as 2. And on to the next page. Again, not hard. We just want to make sure that we're really being aware of making the model, because the model is super helpful. Not because we couldn't figure out 1 plus 2 without it, but because it really helps our brain get the idea that we have 1 separate and we have 2 separate. And then when we add, we're putting them together. Now that's pretty, that's not complicated, right? That is a pretty easy thing. I'm going to make sure I use a pencil here when I'm tracing, not my marker. That's not a complicated thing at all, but we want to make sure that we've really got that stuck in our brains when we do get to more complicated math. Now, you remember, you don't absolutely have to, but it's really good to mark those separate cubes so it's clear what you've been doing, especially when we get to bigger numbers. So trace again, 1 plus 2 equals, and you know what it equals. Down here again, guys, you have different colors, right? So you don't have to try to match up the colors. Just make sure that here, these 3 are the same color and that one. So here, they're separate. Now we're going to take them and actually put them together and trace. All right, move it up a little bit. You can follow those lines down and trace them, and then trace the numbers that they've written here, right? Not hard. We just want to really be in the habit of going ahead and doing these extra steps, even though you know it, right? You don't need these extra steps to do that. But the extra steps are really going to stick these lessons in our brain really well for when we get to big, complicated numbers. All right, so here we are again. Again, guys, not complicated for this, but this is going to get the principle in our mind so that when we go to do this with more complicated things, we already know how, because we've done it with simple things. 1, 2, 3, 4 lines, which makes, you can go ahead and write that number down, trace these other things. Make sure you're starting at those blue dots so that we're starting at the top and making our numbers correctly. Oh my goodness, look at that right there. We're just rearranging. Do you remember we did this some in school? Add in any order. Take it down. You guys can trace it. You can draw your dividing lines. You can trace here. Right, pause the video if you need to catch up with me, and we'll go to the last page. And here we are, our mid-chapter checkpoint, guys. So this is just like we had yesterday, right? We had this many and another one. You don't even have to say how many that makes altogether. Now here, how many yellow plus how many red, and you don't even have to put the sum on either of these. Do you guys notice that? All you're doing is making sure that you can tell this set and this set, this set and this set. And then here, right, this is what we just did. Here are these 1 and 1, and when you actually sum them, when you actually put them together, how many is that? Super easy, right? Because these are small numbers and you just automatically know what the answers are. But the important thing is to really get in the habit of going ahead and doing some of these things. Every time we make a drawing or a model to figure these things out, what we're really doing is training our brain to have strategies to use for bigger, more complicated numbers.